Real Talk family, happy Real Talk Tuesday, and welcome to today's marquee event, Sip and See the Real Tea on HBCU. I'm excited, family. I am Dr. Autumn Cavanis, Director of Big Futures Real Talk. And fam, we are officially live for the first time ever at a Dream Deferred conference here in New York City. If you know, you know. Can we clap for that, family? All right, now fam, for those of you who are watching us from home, you're going to hear a lot of crowd participation during this special Real Talk. In fact, you know what? We're gonna do another vibe check and see if the audience in studio passes the vibe check. Can we hear applause one more time, audience? Okay. All right, our audience officially passes the vibe check. Okay. All right, we're doing something here. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our agenda because we only have 30 minutes. And when I tell you it's going to go by quickly, it's going to go by quickly. So a few things that we're gonna do today. We have an amazing, illustrious all-star panel in the building. So I have to introduce and ensure that you meet them. Then we're gonna play a little game here known as Big Facts or Big Cap. Then we're gonna do the Real Tea on HBCUs. And then we'll talk about what's next for Big Futures Real Talk. Now you're gonna see in the margins are QR codes. Please make sure you tap those QR codes because they're going to connect you directly to our resources that are available on bigfuture.org. So I think it's time that we go ahead and meet our illustrious all-star panel. Can we clap for our panel, family? All right. You know, I think we need to start with the president of Virginia State University. Dr. Abdullah, would you please tell us your hometown and tell us what you do at Virginia State University?
I am originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I am the 14th president of Virginia State University.
All right, let's clap for president, all right? Okay, let's meet Dr. Juan Alexander. What do you do, Dr. Alexander, in your hometown, sir?
I am Juan Alexander from the Bronx, New York, and I currently serve as the Senior Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management at Norfolk State.
All right, let's clap for Dr. Alexander. And then we have Miss Genoa McNeil in the building. Miss McNeil, hometown, please, and what do you do at Coppin State?
Hey, everyone. I am from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I have the pleasure of being the Director of Admission at Coppin State University.
All right. So I tell you, our panel is paneling, family, okay? And what I need you to do while we're connecting and hanging out with our panel is go ahead and you see those QR codes. You can learn more about Virginia State University, more about Norfolk State, as well as Coppin by tapping those QR codes and learn about them over on Big Future. All right, so I think we need to go ahead and get to it, all right? We have a little bit of time here. Questions, please go ahead and send them in because we're answering them in that chat box. You're gonna see them pop up. But I think we need to play Big Facts or Big Cap. So Big Facts, I'm gonna read a statement. If that statement or assertion is true, our panelists are gonna hold up Big Facts, okay? Now, if I read a statement and it's false, not real, okay? It's 100% all cap. And our panelists are gonna hold up this. All right, illustrious all-star panel, y'all ready?
We got you.
All right, here we go. HBCUs produce 80% of America's Black judges and 50% of our country's Black lawyers. Big facts or big cap? Ooh, okay. Big facts all the way around, panelists, big facts. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw to you, Dr. Alexander. Any comments on that about HBCUs producing 80% of our judges and 50% of our country's Black lawyers?
Well, I think for many of us at HBCUs, primarily a lot of them started out as institutions for teachers. But since that time has passed, and because of the missions and the goals of HBCUs has provided students the opportunity to venture out into other areas such as politics, the sciences, and because of the supportive environment, students are challenged to move further and to do bigger and greater things. So I think with our HBCUs, we promote these type of habits and this type of mentality where students can do other things than just teach.
Love that. Can we clap for that? Great answer, Dr. Alexander. All right. Okay. Big facts or big cap, illustrious all-star panel. It's hard to get a job after graduating from an HBCU. We all know what that. We know that's big cap all the way. The microphone even picked up on that, right? Okay. All right. Ms. McNeil, talk to us. Why is that big cap?
That's big cap because it is HBCUs are a space that prepare our students like none other. Our students are prepared not academically, but socially, mentally, psychologically. Our students are very well prepared to go out into the world and be young adults that can take on anything, not just find that career of choice. I can speak as a product of an HBCU that my undergraduate experience did not lead to the job that I currently have today, but it did lead me to a job. I wanted to be an economist. I wanted to work for the USDA, but it was the experience while I was at my HBCU that led me to the path of admission, where I found my passion in helping other folks that look like me, that can't find what it is that's important to them while they're in college, but they still can find where their passion lies. I wanted to help more young people do that. So I'm a product of the myth over here, but yes, HBCUs prepare like none other.
All right, wonderful answer. Y'all please clap for Ms. McNeil. All right, our panelists are 2 for 2. That's why they're all stars. Let's go ahead and get to that third big fact or big cap. All HBCUs are the same. Big fact or big cap? We know that's big cap, okay? Totally big cap. President Abdullah, will you help us out on that, sir?
We have over 100 HBCUs, big and small, rural and urban, engineering programs and liberal arts programs. They're some of the most diverse institutions in the country. Your institution, your favorite institution, Huston-Tillotson, is one of the best schools in Texas. As a matter of fact, the first woman to be the president of Huston-Tillotson was a graduate of Virginia State University. And so there are all so many different kinds of institutions, but also they're so connected in so many ways. And so I think that HBCUs are the best institutions in the country, most diverse institutions in the country, and you can find one that fits you.
Absolutely. Let's clap for President Abdullah, family. Okay. Now we're about to load some questions, and we're going to do what we call a lightning round. And we're just going to get as many questions as we possibly can. But before we get into that, President Abdullah, you brought up something I thought was really interesting when you're finding that HBCU that is the right fit for you. Can you give us some insight quickly on what that looks like? Because a lot of times students are trying to figure out which HBCU do I go to? How do I know it's my right fit? Parents and caring adults are trying to figure that out as well. Would you give us some illumination, please, on that?
I will. First, I'll go bigger. I think it's super important that young people find the institution that is the best fit. I think in the world of college and universities, it's really the last place where we associate prestige with quality. We know that there's some institutions that are more prestigious, but that doesn't make them better for you. I'll give you an example. If I said a car, what's the best car? Most people would say, well, something, but they wouldn't say a Bentley, because a Bentley is the most prestigious car, but not necessarily the best car for you. So what's the best university for you? And I firmly believe that for all African-American young people, that I'm not saying the HBCUs are by definition your best choice, but that you should visit one, at least one, and compare it to some other institutions and get an idea of what kind of institution that you want to go to. And we love to have you come and hang out at Virginia State University. So I think it's important that everyone choose to make a visit, to take a look at an HBCU, and then make the ultimate decision of what the best school is for you.
All right. Thank you, President Abdullah. Can we clap for that, please, family? Okay. I think we're doing great on time, so let's get to some of these questions, all right? Let's see right here. Madison wants to know, what is something that as someone looking at an HBCU should know? So great question. Madison is saying, what is something that as someone looking at an HBCU, what should I know?
It's a lot you should know. You should know about what your interests are for sure, what's important to you, and look for those specific things at any institution. Specifically at HBCUs, you want to look at academic programs, location. You want to look at the availability of housing if you want to live on campus. But really make your own list of the things that are important to you. I would hope that your academic program is at the top of that list because you want to go to a place that can feed your academic interests first. Of course, the social, the engagement, all of that will come no matter what HBCU you go to. But make your list of things that are important to you and look for those things specifically at each one of those institutions that you visit. And visit.
Visit is key, right? You keep saying visit. I heard that from President Abdullah as well. And you said that as well, Ms. McNeil. Why is it important to visit an HBCU?
Well, I think for any institution that you are interested in, I think you should take a visit. But if we're talking specifically HBCUs, I think it's important when you get the programs or you get the brochures in the mail, a lot of times they give you the best pictures, the best environment, things of that nature. But you really don't get a real feel of the institution until you actually go and visit the school. There, you'll get a chance to see firsthand the environment, the location in which the school sits in, the people, the students, the facilities, which are important, and just the overall feel of the campus. So we strongly encourage individuals, if they can, to come visit. If not physically, really take a look at virtual tour options that students have now or the institutions have now on their websites. That gives you somewhat of what the area will look like, the buildings and things of that nature, and then call, set up virtual appointments. Now, since COVID, everything is pretty much Zoom. So many more opportunities to communicate have come about as a result of that. So visiting is very important to get a true feeling of what the campus and what the environment is like.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's go ahead and see another question. This is from Adana. What kind of services do HBCUs offer students that are different from other colleges? Great question, Madonna. What kind of services do HBCUs offer students that are different from other colleges? President Abdullah, will you help us out?
That is a great question. I would say this: the thing that we offer different is that we are different. The entire university believes and wants you to succeed. There is someone at an HBCU that you are going to have an incredible relationship with, whether that's a faculty member or a staff member, who's going to be your surrogate brother, uncle, aunt, and to help you make it through. And you're going to meet your best friends in the entire world. I think that HBCUs, how should I say this? The excellence first is unquestioned. You saw the stats earlier: 80% of judges, 40% of lawyers, 40% of members of Congress. Most Black CEOs went to HBCUs. We know that you can get there from our institution, and that belief is what's different, in my opinion.
All right. Thank you, President Abdullah. Absolutely, Ms. McNeil.
I have to also say
Absolutely.
school pride. It's nothing like HBCU pride. It's authentic. You get it the moment you start classes on the campus, and many times it cannot be replicated no matter where you go, but it is at every single HBCU, and students appreciate that. You will have those folks that take you in without even knowing your name. They will say, "You are now mine, and I'm gonna take care of you." And along with that comes pride in the institution, and it's unmatched.
I hear that over there. You know what? And that reminds me of something to say about HBCUs that we can tap on real quickly. We always talk about a family at an HBCU, right? We have a yard, we have a family. Can you give us some more insight on that? The family, that experience that you see.
So I think to the points that we made earlier, I think attending an HBCU is something that students will receive as it relates to support. I don't think you're just a number, but we look at holistically the student to ensure that we're meeting the need. And I think the support is very critical coming to an HBCU. That's what you will definitely find.
If I can piggyback a little on the family thing, we definitely are a family. Now, families aren't perfect, but we are family. Even here, we're family. So Virginia State University, really in many ways, is the mother of Norfolk State University, right? And I say that to say really that, because I'm not going to tell that. That's a private conversation later at the cookout where we'll have that conversation. But that's right. But the most important part is that there's a real relationship between the institutions. The pride among the institutions is not just individual, it's collective as a group. And it works across entities where we playfully sometimes tease each other the way families do, because we're connected, because we believe in each other. And though we might compete on the field one day or 2 days a year, every other day we're trying to do the best we can for young people. So,
all right, thank you, President Abdullah. Yes, Dr. Alexander, I know.
I just want to make a brief comment on what he just said.
Real brief, Dr.
And I'll just
Alexander.
say, the children have outgrown the parents.
All right.
I'll give them that.
All right, this is a good question from Fedora. Are HBCUs expensive compared to other schools? So Fedora wants to know, are HBCUs expensive compared to other schools?
I'll start.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll say no. I can't speak for all of us. I'll speak for Coppin State University, who is the most affordable institution in the state of Maryland. We also offer in-state tuition to about 30 other states, where we're intentionally trying to make sure that the debt that students have to incur coming to college is lower. College cost. And we try to communicate that to students, but we want them to make very prudent choices. Look for institutions that can help you with institutional aid. Look for institutions that can support whatever your financial need is. But overall, I will say, look at your HBCUs individually because we cost differently. But there are some that are very, very affordable.
All right. Go ahead, President Abdullah, we're going to add something.
I was just going to say, in the 20 states where HBCUs exist, in most of them, the most affordable institution in the state is the public HBCU, period. And also in those states, the most affordable private institution is generally the HBCU. Why? Because we know that it's important to keep costs low because we want students to attend college. And we know that that's a barrier for college. So all of our HBCUs are among the most affordable institutions in the country.
Thank you, President Abdullah and Ms. McNeil. All right, we're going to do one answer because we're going to run through the rest of these questions, okay? All right, this is from Carrington. Carrington wants to know, given that most of our HBCUs are located in the inner city, how are you ensuring that our students are safe on campus? Yes, sir.
Great question. So I know at Norfolk State, as well as I'm sure Virginia State and Coppin State, that we definitely have security that's on campus. We have a Live Safe app for those parents who are interested in understanding and knowing where their children are on campus. There's an app that they can download to track where their students are on campus. Now, of course, most of our students will probably turn that location off so that their parents can find out where they are. But things of that nature, we have various security systems on campus, various call boxes. I think we have about 65 call boxes that are on campus at various locations on the campus where students, if they are in a particular spot on campus, if they have some issues, they can hit the call box and the police department will come to that particular location. So we do a very good job in terms of security. And you will find too that most of our HBCUs pretty much, yes, are in the cities, but also rural areas as well.
Absolutely, right? Our HBCUs are across various areas within a city and within the country, right? Not just inner city, rural as well. All right, let's go ahead and get to this next question. This is from Kaylee. Kaylee wants to know, does being half Black and half white affect my chances of getting into an HBCU? President Abdullah?
Our HBCUs, including Virginia State University, Norfolk State University, and Coppin State University, have never, ever discriminated due to race.
That's right.
Ever. And so, no, your chances won't be better, but your chances also won't be worse. And we certainly love to have you on campus. All of our institutions are probably a little more diverse than you would imagine. We are historically Black, but we welcome white students, Hispanic students, Asian students, anyone who has the thirst to receive an education. We love to have them on campus.
And that's been HBCU's way since inception, since the beginning of time. All right, let's get to this next question, family. This is from, let's see, Ngai. Ngai wants to know what kind of services that are offered at HBCUs for students with a different learning style, for example, autism.
So I know at Norfolk State, and I'm sure at Virginia State and Coppin State, we do have offices of disability services for students who need accommodations, who have IEPs and things of that nature. Once they are identified, then we can provide the services. But what has to happen is that for students who have disabilities and need different services, they need to first identify that they have that need, and then we provide them with the necessary people to get in contact with to ensure that we can accommodate them.
All right, thank you, sir. This is from Catherine. Catherine wants to know, for those of you who chose an HBCU, how did you know that was the right choice for you? Ms. McNeil?
I chose my HBCU because I visited and I felt at home. I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt that people cared about my success. I did visit several other campuses. I was lucky enough to have that opportunity living in North Carolina. There are a lot of institutions there, HBCU and non-HBCUs. And by far, my experience visiting that campus made me feel like there was no other choice. I know that that's not everybody's experience, but that was mine.
Right. And that gets to that notion we shared earlier of visiting the campus. So a lot of times when you visit multiple campuses, you'll feel what is that right fit, like what feels like home. An agreement, panelists? Mm-hmm. You just know. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. You go ahead, Dr. Jonathan.
So I didn't realize that I chose the right school because I actually went to Norfolk State until my sophomore year, because when I came from New York to go to Norfolk State, I didn't like it my first semester. One, to the point that we talked to earlier, I didn't visit beforehand, but I had family who had attended Norfolk State and they talked about it. But when I first got there, the pace was very slow compared to New York. You needed a car everywhere you went. Everything closed early. And that was a difficult transition, right? And it wasn't until the end of my freshman year, because I had planned on going back or coming back to New York. But it wasn't until the end of my freshman year, near the end of my freshman year, that I started meeting people with cars and things of that nature, where I really started to identify and felt like Norfolk State was a good fit for me.
You had to kind of leave and then come back and then feel that was home. All right, so we have a few more questions and we're going to try to get to them all. So here we go. This is from Jermaine. Can you describe quickly a day in the life of an HBCU student?
That is really hard because my student athletes to my honor students, my student tutors, they all have very different days. But I would say that it's a very early morning at Coppin State, and many HBCUs classes may begin as early as 8 a.m. We try to do math and English, all those hard things first thing in the morning. But they could extend until 5 p.m. We have evening and weekend courses at many HBCUs because we try to be where our students are, how they need the modality and course offerings, because we understand some of the students that come to HBCUs are juggling not just academics, but lives. They have to work. They have families. They have many responsibilities. So they need a lot of support. So generally a day maybe begin as early as 8 a.m., maybe earlier for my student athletes. You go through a few classes and you have some time to get you some sustenance in our dining halls. Many of our campuses have exquisite dining halls with the best food options. So you got to come visit and taste them. You'll head back to classes after your afternoon and maybe engage in some student organization meetings and tutoring and all the things that are available on our campuses. Everything from academic supports to social engagement supports, athletics, all the things that you could think of will be available to a student in a day.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McNeil.
Sure.
All right, real fast, Kennedy wants to know, what are HBCUs looking for in students? Real fast.
Coming from admissions, we are looking for students that are ready to learn, that are excited about seeing themselves mature with the support of their HBCU. Many of the HBCUs are not open access, but we do have admission requirements that make it accessible for a lot of students. At Coppin State, we have a summer bridge program, so students that don't meet our baseline admission criteria still can see themselves at Coppin by coming to our campus in the summer. Yeah.
All right, and we have about 2 more minutes of questions that we're going to answer. Jasmine wants to know, what is Greek life like?
Greek life is lit. It's lit. Our D9 is a very important part of our institution, and at all of our institutions, our fraternities and sororities. They bring it. They bring it. Our kids just came out, I think last week, the end of last week, and so it is wonderful on campus. That is true.
You will find too with Greek life, a lot of leadership opportunities as well.
Absolutely.
Right, lit and leadership. I forgot to say that. You're right.
That's the tagline, lit and leadership.
And leadership.
Okay?
That's right.
All right. And let's go ahead and we're going to ask one more question real fast. Let's see. How is mental health accounted for on campus? And that is from Kendall.
I'll take it. We have a number of counselors on our campus. We have greatly increased the number of our mental health counselors on campus to make sure that our students have access. We also liberally use, what is that, electronic, I want to say telehealth for our students. Our students, and I want to applaud this generation of young people, they have really requested and they take their mental health very seriously, and we do the same. We also have mental health days at Virginia State, where we kind of stop a day and let everybody take a break. And so we take it very seriously at Virginia State, and I'm sure my colleagues at their institutions, they also take it very seriously.
All right, can we give it up for our panelists for the lightning round of questions? All right, family, as we stated earlier, you go ahead and start building your college list. And when I shared how to save Coppin State, Norfolk State, Virginia State, you save them to your virtual dashboard over on bigfuture.org. When you do this step, you're actually building your college list. And for my 10th graders, if you save at least 3 schools in your college list, you can qualify for $40,500 scholarships from Big Future. And I think we have one last question for our illustrious all-star panel. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self about finding the HBCU that is right for you? Real fast.
So I would say, in thinking about, first of all, whether or not, what do you want to major in? Okay, that's the first thing that I would think about. And then think about and look at those schools that have the major that you're interested in, and then looking at the location of those schools. And then again, as we previously talked about, taking a visit.
All right, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
My advice definitely to 18-year-old Genoa is, girl, manage your time. You're going to do it all, I promise. College can be a little overwhelming, but it can be sorted out. It is the opportunity for you to go and become a young adult. And I experienced that, but it did get to a point where I had 2 majors and was trying to graduate early and taking 21 hours. It was a bit much. I had to calm myself down, but 18-year-old Genoa, take your time.
I think they've answered that question well, so I'll tell my 18-year-old self some other things. Black people are very diverse people. And one of the things that you learn going to an HBCU is that no matter what you think is interesting, there's some people at an HBCU, whether it's skateboarding or anime, who have the same interests that you have. And so if you're interested in meeting more people like you and you're African-American, I highly suggest you go to an HBCU. The second thing is this. My daughter graduated from Virginia State in 2019, got a master's degree in 2021. I've been at Virginia State 9 years, and every year I've had a member of my family who's attended Virginia State University. I'm not selling something that I have not already bought. And I think the same is true for my colleagues. We're not selling you an idea for your kid or for you that I wouldn't do for my own children. And so we love Virginia State University. We love Norfolk State. We love Coppin State. And we highly recommend that you apply to our institutions. Thank you very much.
All right. Real Talk fam, you can clap for the panelists. It has been officially real as we had our first ever live Real Talk event live from a dream deferred here in New York City. Please save the date for our next Real Talk, which is Level Up. Secure your summer internship, Tuesday, April 16th, 8 p.m. East, 7 Central, and 5 on the West. Incredible studio audience, would you please clap for our illustrious all-star panel? Clap for our panel. All-star panel, y'all did that. We out. We out. Let's wave bye, fam. Wave bye. We're out.